Welcome. This is Real Talk 101 here on a Sunday afternoon from 6 to 8 p.m. Thank you for joining us once again. You know how we get down. This is Real Talk, and what you're going to get through here is real life testimony, and we're going to be exposing the devil in the process. My name is Brad Trammell. If this is the first time you're joining us this evening. Right to my left is my co-pilot, Orlando Boyd, and our second Sunday guest, as usual, Mr. Tommy Mission is in the house. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Yep. Man, you know how we usually start. We go in with prayer and testimony, and I'm going to ask real quick, any prayer requests? Because we're going to get to testifying pretty quick.
Yeah, I got a couple prayer requests.
Okay.
My sister currently down there, I think, was that Southern Maryland?
Yeah.
Down there in Southern Maryland, having some GI issues. So, you know, she can't really eat no food right now. Keep her in your prayers. And my friend Jeanette mother over there at Hospital Center, man, you know, it's unfortunate that people who go into the healthcare profession don't really care. You know what I'm saying? You go into the profession of taking care of people and don't care about people. So, you know, she been over that joint a little more than a week, 80-some years old, and they acting like she's just a regular patient. I've been reluctant to go up there because I don't really want to lean on nobody and then the care get even worse. But, you know, her granddaughter and her daughter, you know, they holding it down, her daughters and her granddaughters, you know, giving the people back. So her name, Miss Perry. And, you know, Takar, just, you know, keep them in your prayer. Takar and Miss Perry, that the Lord, you know, do what he do and work a miracle. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I like y'all keep in prayer because I was down Southern Maryland. I saw your sister and mom down there. My cousin Joshua, everybody know him as Black Indian. He a rapper in the city. He's real big in the city. Pioneer, one of the pioneers. He's, you know, his blood pressure ain't right. You know what I mean? So just keep him in your prayers. I just talked to him before I came in. He's doing well, but he still needs his blood pressure and all that to come down. So keep him in your prayers as well.
That's what's up. And I'm also lift up the Claxton family. Darren's telling me more about the spiritual warfare that he's dealing with down in Arizona. So definitely keep him lifted up for the type of stuff he's dealing with, man. We all get picked to go through certain stuff so the Lord can perfect us in those areas for future work. But with that said, man, we're going to go ahead and have an opening word of prayer. Bow your heads with us. Lord God Almighty, we thank you for joining us and bringing us here today, Lord. Please send your Holy Spirit to dwell with us, Lord. Cleanse us of all iniquities, and Lord, and anything that comes out of our mouths, let it come from you. Wash us and cleanse us, and let us just be vessels that somebody can hear a good word specifically for them. We ask that you be with the health of our families, Miss Peters, Takara Boyd, and Joshua, Lord, and the rest of the many others that we haven't mentioned that we don't even know about. And then ourselves, Lord, our health. You know, we could definitely be doing better in regards to our health, Lord. So we just ask for your guidance, for your wisdom in those areas, and just be with us there and be with us in this session. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Man, last night, for the past 2 Saturday evenings, Hood Proud was invited to have a program at Seabrook SDA Church, have an AYS program for the youth. And both instances, I know both occasions the Holy Spirit moved in a mighty way. And he did, and I was not surprised at the fact that he did that, but how he does it always surprises me because I never know. Again, just to let y'all know, it's like when we come in here, there's no really set game plan unless the Lord gives me something ahead of time, you know. And that's how it was when we had this program. I'm gonna start with last Saturday's first when we had Demetrius Boyd, Orlando's brother, come up, share a good word, and Mahala came through. She shared a good testimony. Something I never knew about it before, but it reached a couple people. And then for the back half of the program, Orlando and I stood up and we bounced back and forth off of one another, talking about spiritual subjects and testifying like we had never done before. We hadn't planned it. And we was talking, we was like, man, I had a mind to call him and discuss with him what was going to happen at the program. But it never came about, never came to fruition. Every time I was going to pick up the phone and call him, like the thought left my hand, it got pushed out my hand, and I was like okay with it. But I was like, man, I need to call him, but it just never came about. And what happened was, while we were standing up there in front of the people, and it's the same thing that happens right here when we sit at this table. When I hit a topic, the Lord told me where to go with it and then where to lead Orlando in to the conversation. And then he did the same thing, that while O was talking, he kicked it back to me. The Lord told me what to say next. And we bounced back and forth off of one another effortlessly, seamlessly. And people were blessed, man. And I was surprised at the end. I always get surprised and blessed at the end because it's like, I know that wasn't the plan. I know that wasn't me. I ain't have no script for that, but yet I was used in a mighty way. And the same thing happened last evening. Brian Patterson came through instead of Mahala this time, but Demetrius was there. And it was crazy because when we first got to this, these are all lessons. I'm gonna reach on them a little bit later, but I'm setting the stage right now. When we first got to the venue, it didn't look promising. Me and Orlando arrived at a gym that was completely empty. And then while we were in there standing and talking to one another, they cut the lights out on us, as if we weren't standing in there. And so I looked at Orlando's face, and he had both a look of consternation and confusion at the same time. Right. Like he's about to ask this brother a question, like, why you cutting the lights out? And we standing here talking. But instead of that, I just looked at him, and they was like, we're about to shut down. I was like, we got a program in here in about 20 minutes. So, and I dealt with it, and they cut the lights back on, and people started showing up. 3 young brothers came in and started setting up chairs. It was moving slowly but surely. It was like a trickle, like a water faucet trickle. People were coming in. Somebody even asked the question. He was like, are y'all going to cancel? Because it don't look like nobody's showing up in this jump. But the Lord has, and I thank him for this, has got me to the mindset, man, don't you pay attention to the crowd. Don't you pay attention to how many people you got in front of you. That's not important. What is it? If it's one person who chooses me in this moment right here, then all of heaven is going to be rejoicing. So my mindset is then, I don't care if it's 1 or 1,000. We're going to give you whatever the Lord is going to give to you through us. We're going to be here. And while we were testifying, going back and forth, to see how things transpired, starting when we barely had anything, to a room almost, every seat that they put out had a behind in it, didn't it? Just about. And it was a mixed crowd of both older generation and younger generation, but they paid attention. We were getting eye contact, we were getting responses, and one thing I love to do every time we have a program, and again, this actually leads into something we rarely do here, is call in. If you got a question, the telephone number here to the studio is 240-719-2560. That's 240-719-2560. We had a question and answer period. And in that question and answer period, there were a lot of real questions. I love it when people ask real difficult questions. And one of the questions that was asked was like, what could the church have done differently to keep youth from going, leaving the church and going back out into the world? I believe I'm quoting that correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when they asked that question, I gave them the answer whereas the Lord allows us to a certain degree to experience life, and this is going to lead us into our topic on lust. He allows us, and for the life of me, I can't understand why he allowed me to go as far as I did go into the world. But he brought me back with a deeper understanding. So I was like, it was advantageous that I went and saw the world. Even though I was raised in the church and I knew all this stuff about the Lord, I knew of the Lord, but I didn't know him. I knew of him, but I did not know him. And in order for me to properly experience him, he allowed me to experience the world first and then experience him. So it's like taste and see that the Lord is good. He's like, you've had all this, and you know what this amounts to. Now come see what I got for you. And then measure the two. And so when that happens, and Orlando had a different answer. I can't quite quote what he said to her, but his answer was different, but it was still right on point. I can't remember what you said to the sister.
I mean, she basically directed the question at us. What could have been done by the church to keep us from going out into the world? And you know how it is, or how it was at Pisgah. And I think Brian Jai touched on that. If all, knowing the history of the people that built that church, literally built that church, basically all ex-street dudes, but there was really no talk about experiences, unless maybe you was family, and in that particular circle, going over people's houses to eat or whatever, but just as far as like interactions at church, in order to keep this little 14-year-old who didn't really want to be in there anyway, just couldn't wait to go get a bag. If you wanted to keep my attention, you gotta let me know, Slim, look, I know what it's like to want to go get a bag of weed, especially after church, or I'm familiar with this, that, or the other thing, or I started hustling at this age. there was no interaction like that. It was just, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not gonna keep nobody, you know what I'm saying, interested. So my thing was, the church or the people in the church need to learn how to be more transparent, need to be more real with the young people, you know what I'm saying? You can't tell me not to do something when you've done it and you're not breaking down to me how you not doing it no more. Or you may still be doing it. If you're still doing it, you definitely can't tell me not to do it. You know what I'm saying? But that's the attitude of a youth when being told you can or can't do something. You know, you're supposed to honor your father and your mother, but if your peoples ain't being straight up with you, so that's a blessing. I mean, that's what I love about how my relationship was with my parents, you know what I'm saying? Everything was put on the table. You know what I'm saying? There was no sugarcoating nothing. There was no hiding nothing. What was done in the house was done at, or what was done at church was done at, you know what I'm saying, at the house. It wasn't like, we about to put on our Sabbath face and go in church in front for the congregation. Nah, it was what it was. And I think that element of realness is missing in the church. You get a lot of people who have in mind, you know, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creature. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. That's true. But where's your testimony at? You know what I'm saying? If all things are new and you ain't doing nothing no more, you walking the straight and narrow, where's your if we're going to overcome through the power of the testimony, where's the testimony?
I mean, at Pisgah, I love the church because it's a family, like you said, family, built by street guys. My father was one. And what I got from Pisgah was, they kept it 100 with me. Uncle Ron, Uncle Melvin, you know, Brother Dave, everybody. I think what it is even though we're told at a young age, sometimes we don't take our parents serious because it's like it's a big generation gap between what you did in 65, 72, you know what I'm saying, to what's going on in the 90s for me. You know what I mean? So it was more like, okay, what we used to do is like they tell you the song, oh man, we used to do that dance back in the, what was that dance? We did the hustle, the bump, the sophisticated lady, all they go down there, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna go dance, you know, do my dances, but we got the Running Man, we got this. Even though you did that back in your day, is different now because we always told things and times change. But it's the same thing, the same, and it always comes back around. So what they taught me at Pisgah was, it's like they had an answer for everything, because my thing was basketball. So my father knew a lot of NBA players. He had one come watch me play, Earl Jones from he played at UDC with Michael Brick, and then he went to LA. You know, he played with the Lakers. So he came back. My father talked to my son. So he told me about the NBA experiences. Clifford Day used to play for the Buffalo Bills. So he gave me that on the NFL experience, the things that they were experiencing. But also, we are so hard-headed sometimes that even though they tell us, you know, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. Well, you didn't think like I thought. I'm a little smarter than you. My father was a gangster. You know what I'm saying? My father robbed banks, credit unions, kidnapped people, did all of that. My father told me, son, I've been to jail enough for the both of us, so you ain't got to go. You know what I mean? So the thing is, a lot of times, even though we're warned, and you're right, they tell you, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, but don't go into specifics. But I found that even though they go into specifics, for some reason or another, when I was young, you weren't as sharp as I was. That's how I felt. You know, so I didn't go all the way out there, but I was out there. And I think a lot of times we go out there, God allows us to go out a little bit further than some, because that's when he says, okay, now I got your attention now. I can bring you back in. So therefore, if somebody that you know is going through it,
Right.
even if it's a younger person, you're closer to the younger generation than your mom or your poppy. So you can pretty much relate. You know what I'm saying? A little closer. So, you know, that's just basically what it is, what I gather. Like I said, my parents were a little, mother 16 years older than me, father 18, but they gave me enough to know, even though they gave me that amount, I still went out and ventured out on my own, because I felt as though I was a little smarter, a little wiser than they were, because that's the old school way. This is the new school way. You know, the new school way is smarter than the old school way, because y'all ain't had what we had. Now you got the next generation talking about, okay, we got Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Donkey Kong, whatever you got, all them little systems, Hilo, we didn't have all that. You know, even to the point where our studying is different. Like here, I'm starting to see, I'm used to this, going to church, I'm used to the pastor having a Bible.
Right.
Now, they don't have Bibles no more. It's like this, okay, I'm in my iPhone or I'm on tablet, and I'm preaching from my iPhone and tablet.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that they don't, it doesn't mean that they're smart, it's just they have the technology. And I think some people take technology and equate that to knowledge more so than, actually having knowledge, like sitting here and having to study, opposed to it being right there accessible to you.
You smart because your phone's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
There
So
you
if
go.
your phone died, you lose it.
You know it because Google knows it.
Yeah. Your phone
You can do it
died,
because
you
YouTube
know.
show you how to do it. Yeah.
Just like when back in the day when you worked the cash register, you had to know, you had to know the exact change. You
gotta know some math.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
You had to know some
Yeah,
math
some
if
math,
you was in the
though.
register.
You hit a hamburger on the screen, boom, it come up with you, then you put the total in there, and then everything is already done for you.
Right.
So that takes a little bit away from you, even though it's quicker access to it,
Right.
it takes a little bit away from you. So yeah.
Speaking on that topic of how readily accessible stuff is nowadays, it was interesting because when we had that question in that dialogue last night, when Brian grabbed the mic, he was quick to venture into the conversation about sexuality and how that conversation rarely happens in the bluntness that it needs to happen in. And he was like, a lot of these kids, just like you said, we didn't have those phones and systems like that when we was growing up. Matter of fact, Nintendo came out when I was like 7 or 8 years old, something like that. And then like from there, that's when, stuff started progressing. But now, any kid with a cell phone can pull up anything he wants. If he ain't got no block on his browser, on his YouTube, he can do whatever he want with it. And it would be hard to imagine that type of access when I was younger and where I might be now because I had that access then. Because I remember what we was doing then just to try to see something. You know what I'm saying? Messing with the cable box so the pictures
Put
all
the magnet
fuzzy.
on the back
Put
of
it
the
back,
TV.
exactly.
Yeah,
Adjust
peeking
it.
through the lines.
Yeah, you're peeking through the
Press-
lines.
hey,
Press
try
like
to
a bug.
see
Huh?
something.
And don't find no VHS tape that's all black with no label on it.
You already know
Oh,
that
you
is.
already know.
You know
The
what that
joints they
is.
got it's
Yeah.
stripped of all names, all labels. That joint is just a black cassette tape.
They'll know what VCR tapes
They don't
are,
know
man.
Exactly,
I just thought about that. You might not know what a
know,
VCR is, man.
VHS,
None of that.
VCR, you know
None
what
of
I'm
that.
saying? Betamax, they don't know what none of that.
You
You
take
talking about
cassette
beta?
tapes?
I don't know that I've ever watched the beta tape. You know what I'm saying?
I have. I watched the beta tape before.
That's
man.
the smaller VHS.
Just
you
saying,
know
they-
what?
they
You know
real
what?
goofy
My uncle
looking.
did have a beta.
They real goofy looking.
He sure did. Times have changed real fast, man. A whole lot that happened in the past 100 years.
Yeah, man.
Past 50 years.
Yeah.
But they were saying, and this is kind of what I would be thinking to myself if I was to talk to a young person who is, first of all, ain't nobody coming out their mouth talking about they struggle with lust and struggle with, sexual desires and this type of stuff and how to control it. Nobody comes out their mouth because that's private. You keep that stuff close to the chest.
Yes, Lord.
So when parents don't have the blunt, it's like, they try to sugarcoat it, call it the conversation about the birds and the bees. You know what I'm saying? But I ended up learning everything about that from music videos on the box, and on through 2 Live Crew videos and Naughty by Nature videos and stuff like that. And then that type of perception is when I'm able to grow up and get my license and get my car and go out and do what I want to do because I'm of age now. I'm expecting to go to places where I'm gonna see the more of that. And it was crazy because with me, it's like you said, man, when you don't know the Lord and you have these desires, you just go out and pursue your own lust, you think that's natural. It's like, okay, this must be what we supposed to be doing. Like I've said on this show before, me and my boys, we were talking high school, you wasn't talking nothing unless you smashed, young. You know what I'm saying? It's like you was with this girl, it's like, well, what did you do then? If you kill y'all, you just kissed her, man, all right, get out of my face, man. You ain't do nothing for real. You ain't do nothing. And so the pressure was always there to push the envelope a little bit further. And, the conversation is far different from guys. If a guy goes around and sleeps with 100 women, he's a player. But if a female do it, she a hoe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I know I've definitely had conversations with females about that. But what I'm getting at is the Lord allowed me to venture so far down that road. And I now, like before when it was happening to me, I was like, oh, this is just my day. This is my year. This is my time. And so everything came about me and I got that bravado and that pride like, oh, I can't be denied. And that type of, first of all, it's funny how you pick your friends, man, because I would always roll with brothers who were older than me. Everybody who I'd always be the youngest dude in the group because I figure older dudes have more experience in getting women. So if I'm around them, I can learn more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they got lines or not. Because they told me quick, like, lines are cheesy, Slim, just come as yourself. You know, she's either going to accept you or reject you. Exactly. But you got to have the mindset, there are 1 million more fish besides the one that's sitting in front of you right now. Yeah. So you got to go at it like that. It's like, young, she either going to take it or not. If she do, next. You know what I'm saying? And so with that mindset, it always used to get my adrenaline going with me and a specific one of my dudes. I ain't gonna call his name out. We used to hit up H2O on the regular, right down there off Water Street with the Zanzibar in the corner. We was security. We used to be regulars in that joint every Saturday. Wasn't even no question where we was going, cause after DC Live, it was that spot. That like the same management crew broke off and then built that and blew that up. But we would be in that joint, and our main objective was to get like the baddest youngin' that we seen, and then go to VIP with it, because that's how the club was set up. It's like you in that joint, party till like 10 o'clock, and then a select crowd moves into VIP and they shut down the rest. And so with that mindset of just seeing how far I could push to see if I can get the bad, my thing was I'd rather swing for the fence than just stand at the plate and bunt. I'd rather do that, because when you settle for less, that joint will sit on your mind the whole ride home. It's like, man, see, I blew that opportunity. That's like, I'd rather not live with regret. I'd rather go hard in this area. And it's crazy because the Lord wants us to do that for Him. Yeah. But we're so quick to apply that mindset to the world and going after the lust of the flesh instead of what He would have. It's like, how you want to be going so hard to do what your flesh wants to do, but then when I ask you to do something, it's like pulling teeth. I gotta wait weeks or months for you just to act. And I'm preaching to myself right now. Please know. Exactly. But I just find that strange because I don't want to categorize lust of the flesh as just something sexual. Like, okay, it's a female that it's definitely not. It's so much more than that. And how far we go to pursue these lusts of the flesh, it's like when we was talking last night and the verse was brought up, I believe it was brought up, he whose son frees is free indeed. You free from your sin. It's like, if you free from something, you ain't a slave to it no more. But yeah, we run back to it like it's the master. And the Lord, and this is straight up revelation, I was talking to the Lord just recently about this. I was like, what is the difference? Because if I'm still pursuing the lust of my flesh, even though it's sporadic, it don't happen as much as it used to, he was like this, he was like, are you comfortable after you do it now? And I was like, no. He's like, first of all, that's my spirit working on your heart, because you're not comfortable with it. Before, you would go do it and go to sleep like a baby. You know what I'm saying? You would give yourself to it and not think any more about it. Now, because there is a conflict within you, that is the freedom of giving. You're never going to fully be comfortable with it as you once were, and that's the freedom. Right there. You're never going to be able to fully go back to that lust that you pursue and just be like, oh, we here again. I ain't got to worry about nothing. That's back to the way things were. He's like, it will not rest in your spirit silently for that to happen. That's the freedom I'll give. And before I gave you that freedom, you had no choice but to serve that lust. You had no choice but to be a slave to it. You were so, and this is what I was bringing up.
Was it lust before it came to your understanding?
Was it lust before?
Was it lust before it was made known to you that you were lusting?
No, not to me. It was natural.
I mean, that would be anybody. Until it's taught them or it's shown them that this is what they're doing, you're just doing you.
You're just doing you. You're doing you.
And see, the thing is, when you told me about lust, what the talk was going to be about, I really thought about it. I really had to look that thing up. And a friend of mine I talked to, today, she's a female, I was talking to her today about what the topic was. She pointed me to Google about the definition. Of course, it says that the first definition is what is what you're saying? I'm gonna go with this one. It's an uncontrolled or illicit sexual desire or appetite, a passionate or overmastering desire or craving, and it talks about a lust for power as well as sex. You know what I mean? Overmastering. So what that took me back to was what it says in the Bible: you can't serve two masters.
Right.
So you will love one, you hate the other.
That's right.
And then you talking about overmastering. So now it's like, I want what I want. Regardless, God, what you got, what you want me to, I want what I want.
I want what I want.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you want right now. You know what I mean? Overmastering. So that's taking over. So when I look at it, and let me say this, man. God knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? When he created, it's like, I got this picture in my mind, and I'm praying I make it to heaven so I can sit down and ask God about it. But
Yeah.
what were you thinking when you created woman? That's what I want to ask. I noticed that we will always have a connection because women came from us. You know what I mean? But the way it was like, I mean, I can imagine God and them, they sitting there, say, man, you know what, Adam?
I'm about to hook you up.
I'm about to put you in the pocket like no other. Cause I got you. I got you. Now let me give her a little bit of this, a little bit of legs, a little bit of thighs, let me give her a little breast, let me give her a little butt, yada, yada, yada. And then Adam wakes up and she's standing right in front of him.
First time.
For me, you know what I'm saying? For me, dog.
For me.
That's for me. But then you turn around, man, and I think about my own life, and I talk about, last few times I talked about baby mother relationship, daughter and all that, and I'm going to say this. Sometimes we lust, and this is me, I lusted after my daughter's mother. Body was good.
Yeah.
As we say, fatter than a pregnant mongoose. That's how bad she was. That's how cut she was. You know what I'm saying?
My bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it 100. I just gotta be
Swamp
me, man.
Arthur,
But
man.
she just was just. Whereas though, when we lust like that, we see a woman like that, we ain't even think about what her personality is.
Right, not at all.
That don't even matter. You know, women, because I talk to women, they're like, well, are you concerned about the personality? Not right away.
Not right away.
No, not for me to want to get to know you, I got to be attracted to you. I'm a butt man. You know what I'm saying? Learn about start to appreciate breasts a lot more as I get older. But I'm a butt man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm a butt man. So a woman with jeans that butt is constructed a certain way, I got to go ahead, and the way I was raised is I got to go conquer that. Barbershops. I got to knock that down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a hunter. You know what I mean? They put all that out.
We generally are.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing. And this, as I got older, this is how I learned how God works. What's crazy about it, and I thought about it today, and this is going to sound crazy. We as men and women are attracted to the dirtiest parts of our body towards one another. I love butts. A woman used the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? It was one time you couldn't tell me Holly Berry used the bathroom. She was too fine to use it. You know, in my opinion, she was too fine to use it.
Yeah.
But we're attracted to that. You know what I'm saying? We're attracted to that.
Right.
Just like they attracted to us, you know, we do what we do.
Yeah.
And we're attracted to, I'm going to call it the box, because we being, you know, the box. They go through their cycles every month, whatever the case may be. But we're in love with that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Lord, why am I so lustful for these things and they're dirty? But at the same time, he pointed to me, you're dirty.
Yeah.
You know, as much as I love you, you're dirty. You know what I'm saying? And my desire is for you to get it right with me so that you can be saved. You know what I mean? So the lust thing is major, because sometimes I go through the stories of the Bible. I'm talking about from Adam and Eve situation to Samson and Delilah. He told his parents to pick her, get her for me, because she pleases me, and that's in Judges 14:3. You know what I mean? So I'm up here, you know, doing certain things. I'm also 2 Timothy 3:4. As we read it later on, it talks about us being lovers of pleasure opposed to being lovers of God. You know what I mean? I would hate for God to say the reason why you ain't make it is because you're a lover of pleasure instead of loving me. You know what I mean? And I got it here, and I'm gonna go ahead and
That's the 2 Timothy.
2 Timothy 3:4. If y'all can read it, I need glasses, dog. I'm about as blind as.
I know O gonna find. I'm gonna stick around the Judges though, because there's something else I wanted to pull out of that story that just blew my mind with Samson. But like, as I've had experience, I get why now. Before I was like, is he just stupid, or was he drunk? Like, as many times as she asked him what was the source of his strength, and then he ended up falling asleep on her lap, and she wake him up threatening that very same thing that's supposed to take away his strength. And she did it several times before the real reason was found out. And he didn't leave her alone.
Green. Oh my goodness.
He was, but he had a younger before that. He had been married before that, and that's when the Philistines came and took out, his wife and then her father-in-law, and that's when he came through with the jawbone and tore him up. But when he was going through, I was like, why was his head like where was his head? It's like, I put it to you like this: prior to the Lord working with me on the lust issue, especially when it came to women. All we have is, just like you said, our dirty eyes. That's it. That's all we can see. And then it does not help that the primary number one way that anything is marketed in this world is through sex.
Yeah, it is.
Like cigarettes was the first junk I said. You was like, if you want to look cool, you smoke, and then a bad youngin will come up to you. That's what the commercial had in it.
Exactly, with the camel.
You know what I'm saying? Either that or with a cup of cognac. You know what I'm saying? You was a slick dude in the back of the club sitting next to the piano with a glass of the golden, and then the youngin came through. It's what was portrayed. And so, because they know that's the desire for men, that's how we get hooked on to the commercial. You put that in front of us. But then anything, and now the way sexuality is pushed so much, it's like, how can anybody, not have dirty eyes? You know what I'm saying? And what I found out is, first of all, it's about my environment. And it's all about, because there have been times where I've been in specific situations where my focus has been on something very important, far more important than who's around me. And when I had that focus on what I was doing, it was either work for the Lord or work on my actual job. If something I was focused on, it didn't matter who was around me, I would not be distracted from that. And that's when I first noticed it, like the Lord was keeping my mind. He was like, don't worry about her over there, don't worry about this over there. That's only sent to distract you. I need you to focus on what you're doing right now, because this needs to get done. And I'm like, why can't you just do that with me all the time? You know what I'm saying? Lock me down all the time, because I was just about to read, it was Matthew 5:26, I believe, said, he who even looks at a woman and lusts after her in his heart, he's already done it. He already done the dirt.
Already done it.
And I'm like, if that's the case, every man is condemned. Because if we ain't verbally come out and say nothing to make no move, in our minds, it went down a couple times. So it's like, how do we free ourselves? I'm not even going to say free ourselves, because that already sounds like foolishness. It's about trusting the Lord to direct your mind in the situations. It's also about preemptive prayer. Like if I'm going into a situation where I know there's going to be temptation everywhere, I'll pray ahead of time, like, Lord, you know me. You know where I'm going. If you don't want your boy to fall, slip and fall, I need you to direct me and control myself. I need self-control right now. I need you to give it to me. Because if you don't, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to find time to do what I want.
I got one for you. I pray that same prayer. Pray the same prayer. Then you get to the situation, and then you see her. You know what I'm saying? And you can't get to where you want to be because you asked for God to take that desire. You see, you like, man.
Yeah.
All right, Lord, I ain't mean that right now. Let me go ahead and take care of this real quick.
I ain't mean that,
and then I come back. You know what I mean? So, a lot of times, God give us an out. You know what I mean?
He's
gonna provide an out.
He's gonna always provide an out.
He provided an out for me a whole bunch of times. Like, all right, Lord, I'm ready to go, but
where does this say?
Let me go ahead and don't mind that. Not this time, Lord, whatever the case may be, because of desire, man. It takes me back to when I was young. I'm tell you what, my mother was the first beautiful woman that I seen. I mean, my mother still 5'11". My mother used to model, beautiful. And I used to hate, I don't know if y'all experienced, used to hate for my mother to come to my school. They see me because I know the janitors, even the kids in my class, the dudes in my class gonna say something slick about my mother because how nice looking my mother was. I also remember walking with my mother, 5, 6 years old. We walked down the street together, she holding my hand, and dudes whistling, and they looking at her, and I'm looking at them like, what y'all looking at? You know what I'm saying? What y'all looking at my mother for? What you looking at? And then as you get older, as you go around, as you grow up around men, I mean real men, you start to appreciate and notice their habits, the way they look at women. So before you really know what it is, you think that's what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to look at a woman that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now you grow up, you can't understand why you and your boys talking. Nice pair of jeans come walk through, all of us quiet. Since you get out of till she get out of sight,
Yeah.
and then we
Why
go
is that?
right back to the conversation that we had.
Why is it the case?
Case, man, is one God gave us.
You think everybody lust?
I don't know everybody. I know I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking God to work with me on that. But I also know that God has given us that desire to desire women and for women to desire men so that we can repopulate this earth.
But the desire is for the woman towards her husband. That's what the desire was given. It was actually a curse. So it was in the midst of the curse that the woman's desire would be after her husband. That was basically after a sexual act. But you think about it from a cultural perspective, we grew up watching videos, looking at these punk behind rappers faking. Society, as far as style, clothing, everything's tight, everything's revealing. There's a culture of people. I walk down the streets, you very seldom do you see a lot of like straight up white people. If a fat behind walk by, a lot of them dudes don't turn and look. It don't necessarily mean they're gay. They were just trained up differently. You know what I'm saying? I used to think that it just ain't look. He must be a jump. The whole time, maybe just got more self-control. He doesn't lust after them fat butts like we do, because that's what we grew up watching. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my mother I've never seen her wear anything revealing, but her jeans sit out. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure dudes probably look at her like, man, that shawty jive fat. But I mean, I would never see that in my mother. But my grandmother got it behind, so she got it naturally. But it's like, Joe, but then you can't tell because of the way they dress.
Right.
When you give me no choice but to see your entire figure, because either your shirt is spandex or your pants, everything's tights. So you don't leave you leave me no choice but to envision you naked because you look naked anyway with something painted on your body. That's what we do to each other. You know what I'm saying? To these females. And now they got the dudes wearing tight pants and tight shirts. You know what I'm saying? It's all for the purpose of enticing the eyes. So it's the lust of the eyes, it's the lust of the flesh. But if I can put it in front of your face, if I can get you to look at it, eventually if I can get you to look at it, you're gonna think about it. If you're thinking about it, eventually you're gonna probably try to do it. Vicious setup. You know what I'm saying? For real, but if you can keep it from in front of your eyes, then that lust thing might subside.
There's one verse in the Word, and it's in Proverbs. It eludes me where it is right now, but I remember that John Solomon said, he's like, the eyes of a man are never satisfied. When I read that, it was so hopeless after that for me. Like for a split second before it starts, I was like, now Lord, you see this, it's in here. So if the eyes of a man are never satisfied, then he has no choice but to either be redirected by you or just be tempted. You know what I'm saying? For the rest of however many years he's here. I mean, the joint that I was drawn to just now was 1 Corinthians 10:13. It says, no temptation has overtaken you except such as common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will also make the way of escape that you may be able to bear it. So the part that stands out to me in this verse is like, this is common to man. So it's kind of like what we was talking about. The desire that's in us to desire a woman. It's common to man. But it's how far you take that desire and how far you allow that joy to sit in your mind, that it will dictate your actions of what you're going to do to pursue that. But, you know, the Lord is like, what is coming in front of you, you can handle it. Or else I wouldn't have allowed it to come in front of you. Because if I know anything, just like we were talking about with Samson, he was a very powerful judge back in the day when the Lord had appointed him to be judge. The devil sent Delilah, take him out. It was a strong weapon against him. If we look at what happened to David, Bathsheba.
His desire for Delilah got him taken out.
Yeah. But what did she ain't do nothing extra to enhance that desire?
I mean, she probably was walking around half butt naked.
Yeah.
But he wanted her.
Yeah.
He wanted her. She didn't really come at him. He saw her and wanted her.
He did not come at her?
Did he?
Now, what he says right here is, it says, Judges 14:3. It says, this is just chapter verse 3.
Okay.
It says, then his father and mother said unto him, is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren or among my people that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. You know what I mean? So that's lust right there.
She knew what she was doing.
Hey,
He'd already
that's
experienced
lust right
that.
there.
Well, he was already on that path because the Philistine wife he had before. Now, that if there's anything
You
more
know what the
defiant than
Philistine
that,
women do.
the Philistine women get down.
They ain't had no problem with,
Yeah.
They ain't do what the Israelite women did.
And that's the addition to the crazy thing because we can also, I ain't even gonna dig into
That's
this
why
issue-
God wanted his
issue
people to
too
stay
deep.
separate from
That's
them.
right, he did. But the appeal of the world is getting in one way or another. But it's like, in order to really treasure what God really has for you, you have to have the mind of God. Because if you have the mind to the world, you're going to tend to go after everything that's running around painted.
true.
You know what I'm saying? And that's probably what happened to Samson. He was fighting the Philistines, and while he's fighting, wait. Okay.
Oh, y'all got them over there?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some of them
I'ma
when
get some of them.
I take care of y'all. I'm gonna get them women.
Exactly.
But you check out 2 Timothy chapter 3, right? You said verse 4. I'm gonna read from the verse 1.
For your verse all the way there.
I'm gonna read from verse 1 to
That's
verse
all I'm
7.
gonna do.
You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
2 Timothy chapter 3, starting at verse 1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves,
Yeah.
covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent. I'm gonna stop right there because I looked that up because I didn't know what it meant. But incontinent, unable to restrain natural discharges or evacuations of urine or feces, unable to contain or retain, lacking in moderation or self-control, especially of sexual desire, unceasing or unrestrained. So you're not gonna be able to control
Yourself.
your sexual desire, among other things. But in the last days, perilous times is what it's called. But fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, which is verse 4, which he was talking about, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away, for this sort are they which creep into houses. For this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women, laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. That's what people. That's what we're gonna be dealing with in these last days, Joe. And that's everywhere.
That's what we dealing with now.
Right, it's
That's
dealing with that.
everywhere, Joe. People, man.
Like
you
we
think
talking about
natural
Larry
affection,
Nassar
come on.
and then what's going on in Hollywood, all the dudes who harassing women, and that whole blowing up thing that's happening out there, like nobody's saying.
But that's what you're gonna get when you remove God.
And let me read what
Absolutely.
you just read, from the new translation. What is this? The New Living Translation. It says, "You should always know this," and he's talking to Timothy, that in the last days there will be difficult times, for people will love only themselves and their money. They will be boastful and proud, scoffing at God, disobedient to their parents, and ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. They will be unloving and unforgiving. They will slander others and have no self-control. They will be cruel and have no interest in what is good. They will betray their friends, be reckless, be puffed up with pride, and love pleasure rather than God. They will act as if they are religious, but they will reject the power that could make them godly. You must stay away from people like that. And it says, they are the kind who work their way into people's homes and win the confidence of the vulnerable women who are burdened with guilt of sin and controlled by many desires.
You know, one of the biggest things that I took away from that is actually one of the first words that you read in the
Money.
in the top of that. It wasn't money. It was in the top of that verse, and it goes to. Let me bring it like this. Just the other day, I was watching TV, and the movie The Bronx Tale came on. I know y'all seen that's an old joint.
That's my joint.
It's a classic.
That's
you
my
know
joint.
what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
tackle a lot of issues in that movie. Like the more if I watch it later in life, I understand more about what was going on because they tackle a lot of stuff like growing up. But one of my favorite parts is when the main gangster Sonny is talking to C, and he's telling him, he's like, man, I want you to take my car and take this girl on a date. And he's like, when you take her on a date, you give her the door test. and the door test was in. You walk over to her after you park the car, you bring her to the car, let her into the car, but you have locked the doors. Make sure that your door is locked. If you walk behind the car and she doesn't reach over to open the door to let you in, he's like, you got to dump her immediately. Dude was like, why? He's like, 'cause she's vain, she only cares about herself. It's like, if that happens, he's like, get that joint out. He's like, get her out the way. I'm telling you, dump her, you save yourself a lot of headaches, a lot of pressure. And that thing right there, the vanity, son, I've seen a lot that I've seen in the world. And this is, I guess, the biggest change where I know the Lord has actually got his hands on me in this area of my life. Before, if a chick was vain, I just looked at that as a challenge.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you think you bad? Can't nobody break you down?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. And then I would pursue it that much harder because I looked at it like that. Now, if you see a chick, no matter how fine she is, she got a head, she thinks she all that, and she knows she's smelling herself, there's nothing more unattractive in the world. Because it's like, she got a wall that you don't even want to try to get through. It's like you just think everything gonna be about you, like the whole time. I'm gonna be working my behind or trying to possibly make a relationship or do what I can until I smash, but everything gonna be about you. And you gonna keep it about you. You gonna stay in front of your phone. You gonna stay in front of the mirror. You gonna stay snapping pictures and doing selfies and posting that stuff all over so that the relationship that we got in real life don't even matter, because the attention that you get online somewhere, that matters more. And that's what you crave. Your lust is after that. And so when that happens, it's like, you see that, and that speaks to that point in that verse. Men and women will be lovers of themselves. They will be and it alarms me even when I see now, just like we said before, not only are the females wearing tight clothes, but the dudes are too. Not only are the females taking a bunch of selfies and videos of themselves, which I can understand because vanity is you tend to find that one, but now you see dudes doing it. And that joint, that is the fulfillment of that scripture I see like in general, I see that now, but it's like, to see that fall off, that's like the biggest warning sign. To me, before, and this is where the transition, to me before, that would be a challenge. That'd be like, hey, let's see if you can do something with this. I was like, oh, all right, I gotta get my game up. Let's do something. Now I see it, it's like, bruh, that's a headache waiting to happen.
Yeah.
That's nothing but stress. That's more stress on your brain. Besides being a black man in America, now you got that to deal with. So how much else do you want to put on your plate? And so I believe that quells my lust to a degree when I see that type of stuff. The vanity and the vainness, man. That joint, it turn you off. I myself have stories, and I've heard some stories from other brothers. It's just like, man, this chick would never stop talking about herself. Yeah. And even when I was talking to her, she was on her phone the whole time. Like, I put my phone in my pocket. She had to jump out while she was talking, like having a conversation while she was texting me. And she was having a conversation. I didn't even say, how can you even do that? Yeah. That's like, that has to be practice. You're doing two things at once. Yeah. And I'm like, that is so serious now where I'm glad that I can see that. And it's only the Lord who's showing me and just like, look, man, this is my way. I would not have you be with somebody so vain, because that's just going to cause you headache. Anybody who's vain and prideful within themselves don't really know the Lord like that. Right. Because the more you see of the Lord, the more you see that you got faults and you got flaws and stuff like that. So you tend not to look at yourself so much the closer you get to God, if you got a real relationship with him.
You're not worth looking at anyway.
Yeah.
If you got a relationship with God, you'll see how ridiculous we really are in light of the character of Christ. As far as just as human beings, period. You know what I'm saying? All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And yet you think so highly of yourself. Every 30 seconds, you got to take, everywhere you at, you got to take a picture of yourself and let everybody know what you look like and what you're doing. For men shall be lovers of their own selves. I mean, everything's about selfie. And who you got following you, who like what you done posted, or what can you do to get somebody to like it. If that ain't being a lover of yourself, I don't know what is. I mean,
So I guess why we are bringing that subject up is because pride, like we've stated, pride and vanity, like we've stated on this show before, is just those are the biggest obstacles that would be between you and like God can't even start to get to try to breaking you down if you stay prideful, because that's what happened with the scribes and the Pharisees. The Lord came to give the gospel to everybody, whoever would receive it. And it's clear because we actually have somebody who was a part of the scribes and the Pharisees who did receive what Christ was giving. That was Nicodemus. When he went, he made his own decision. He was a part of that crew. He was a part of that clique. And for a while, he was embarrassed to profess his faith because of the majority. But then when Christ died, he was the first person to jump out there. Hey, I'm putting my money and my funds towards the moving forward of this ministry and for the burial of Christ. Even though it wasn't in his tomb, it was in that other brother's tomb. I can't remember his name. Joseph Arimathea. He had his tomb. But so it's all about getting to that point of humility, getting to that point of where you are broken down so you can receive what the Lord has. Because you have to be broken down before it can happen. And lust is a powerful trigger to keep you from getting broken down. It's like, nah, man, I still want me.
And you can't play with it. I mean, because and that's what this 2 Timothy 3. As you read the chapter and you go down to verse 4 about lovers of pleasure instead of lovers of God rather than God, man, it hurts because it hurt me because it made me realize where my loyalty lies. Mm-hmm. This right here forced me to really look at myself. I love tight jeans on women. Mm-hmm. I love the way a woman talks, walks, smells, everything about a woman, and that desire that God has given, that natural desire for us to have towards that woman. Mm-hmm. But then it's like you can't go overboard. It can't be so overmastering as the verse says that it will cause you to walk and turn away from God.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay to like that, but with that, I mean, I was talking to a young lady today, a friend of mine, Kenya, and I was explaining to her that I appreciate women, but I think women are more cool with when they look at the opposite sex because it's like they could take a snap picture. You know, we walking. You will never see a woman looking back at a dude. I know I never saw it, but looking back at a dude like, dang, I sure would like to. I don't see that. You might some people might have seen it, yeah. Right. But the thing is, women are able to take a snapshot like, "Bow, I got it," and they able to keep it moving. Mm-hmm. It's me, you know what I'm saying? And I know there's ragged dudes out there that when a woman, it's just some women when they walk past, man, they just, it's like, yeah, man, I was just shooting ball. And they command your attention. Right. You know what I'm saying?
That's
but
not
at the
natural,
same time,
though.
yeah.
And you gotta think about it. When Adam and Eve was created, they was naked. The Bible says they were in the naked, and they were in the garden. They was naked, and they wasn't ashamed.
Yeah.
It wasn't until after the sin came into existence that their eyes were open and they knew they were naked.
Yeah.
So before she was butt naked, the baddest woman that's ever graced this planet, but they didn't look at her like she was naked. Now, even with clothes on, all we see is a naked woman.
Yeah, that's true.
You can have a sweatsuit on. I see everything. I can find your curves. I know where they at.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know if you got a brown hair, man, all that good stuff. Yeah. But that's that vicious that's that vicious eye, Joe.
I'm trying to tell you, boy.
Oh my goodness, it's tough.
Well, I mean,
they don't help us.
And I was reading something about
I
was reading something about the lust, man. It's a text about I meant to get it, but it talks about anything that keeps, I believe it's in Matthew, anything that keeps you from sinning, cut it off. You know, plug out your eye.
Yeah.
You know, you know what I'm saying? It's better to
cut off your right hand.
Yeah. It's better to lose whatever.
Yeah, to go to the earth, go to the kingdom lane.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
To be cast into hell with all your blessings.
It just made me, and then the thing is, what it also does is, for me, is that I'm asking God to help me because I can't look at, the thing that's crazy is the way that we look at women. You got men out there looking at your daughter the same way. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I have a daughter, she's beautiful. But I wish a dude would. You know what I'm saying? I wish you would, Slim. My baby girl, you know what I mean? But that's me being hypocritical.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's me being a straight hypocrite, man. So it made me realize, and reading this helped me realize my faults and the importance of how I look at women. You know, I should look at women, not saying that I don't, but look at them with the utmost respect.
I put it to you like this, and I know a brother of mine gave me some good counsel on this because for a while, earlier in my walk, I was thinking, I can't get right. My eyes can't get right, Lord. I was like, if you save me, it's going to strictly because you have passed over my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this is just me. But the thing is, if you really have a relationship with the Lord, He knows you. He knows how He's designed you. I had a conversation with one of my friends who lives uptown DC, and I have spiritual conversations with him whenever I can. You know what I'm saying? He still kind of does what he wants to do, and I be real with you, I like linking up with him because sometimes I'll end up getting to do what I used to do, and I'll feel comfortable because I'm rolling with my man. You know what I'm saying? Even though I know that ain't all the way right, but he had a conversation with me the other day, and he had just finished. He was dating this chick for a while, and when I'm telling you, for like it was a short period of time. It was a short period of time, because he told me, he's like, man, you know, I had to break it off and such and such. And I was like, Young, what? I was like, you was just with this young. I was like, what happened? He was like, man, he was like, you know, she was cool, she was fun, but she didn't do it for me, man. It was something about. And when he said that to me, I immediately thought of when I tried to pursue that same type of female. I tried to go at a female that God would approve of instead of him giving me the approval for one. You know, we had this convo the other day. I tried to go after one who, in my eyes, is like, you measured up. You a godly woman. You know what I'm saying? But you this, that. And the thing is, I dated her a couple times. We went out about 2 or 3 days, and it was good, but it was boring. To me, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me. I ain't gonna say this for every man. This is me speaking about myself.
Exactly.
I was like, she's nice, you know what I'm saying? You can bring her in front of any family member, any time of the day. It's just nice, you know what I'm saying? But for me and myself, the Lord, I remember one time he asked me the question after I dropped her off after that. He was like, is that really what you want? And I was like, no. I was like, man, but I know, I didn't even come out and say nah. I was like, but Lord, man, you know, I said, but. So I ain't even admit it, but my response admitted it anyhow. I was like, but she like this? He's like, but is that really what you want? He's like, first of all, I wouldn't destroy your life and hers for allowing you to make this decision for yourself. Wow. Because I know what's going to happen further down the line. Because this is what you think I want, but you don't know my thoughts. You don't know my ways, man. You don't. He's like, listen, I understand the desire that is in you. I created you with it. The only thing I want from you is a relationship with you so you will see women the way I see them. Because when I send you what is for you, or because I know you so well, you ain't even gonna have to look far for it. It's going to come to you. It's like, I didn't walk Adam around the garden to meet Eve. I put him to sleep and surprised him. And not only that, I built up his first of all, the Lord was like, I built up his curiosity of his perfect mind before I put him to sleep. Because when he was naming all the animals, he saw them coming 2 by 2. And so without me explaining anything, he was putting 2 and 2 together. He was like, wait, they got a 2. That got a 2. It's just me. And I saw him having these thoughts. And then when it was the right time, then I put him to sleep. He's like, you got to understand something. His focus prior to that was to do what I commanded him to do. I was like, go name them animals. That's what he did. Go tend to the garden. That's what he did. I gave him a purpose. I gave him a job. I gave him what he's here for. And then when that happened, he thought he could master what I gave him by himself, and he could. But just because I love him so much, I gave him a helpmate. That's why he did it. He was like, it's God blessing someone he loves. His first son, I can't say his first son, the first created being. Adam, the son of God. He was like, I blessed him because I love him so much.
Yeah.
And then in the opposite, if you're looking for the woman, the man is everything that is supposed to be a representation of God in a woman's life.
Exactly.
That's why we're called to be the priest of the home.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We're called to be the leader. It was one of the craziest things when I was reading in this word. And I mean, I knew it, but when God stamped it, he stamped it. He was like, you understand something. He's like, when the female messes up, I come to y'all first.
Exactly.
I ain't gonna go to the woman and say what in the world happened. I'm coming to the man and say what happened.
Yeah.
When Eve slipped up, God asked Adam first, what happened? And then the blame game started.
Yeah.
When it was one other story in the joint. It was King Ahab, one of the worst monarchs over, I believe it was Judah. It might have been both of them at the time, but King Ahab was this king who had married a daughter of a devil worshiping priest. His first daughter is what he married. Her name was Jezebel. And Jezebel ran Ahab. First of all, she had his mind wrapped up in lust. Because anytime she walked around the palace, it's whatever. Smelling good, looking good, it's whatever. She had his mind wrapped up. But when he couldn't make decisions, she would step up and make decisions for him. And it came around to that story in 2 Kings talking about when he wanted to purchase that vineyard. And that dude was like, nah, I ain't selling this. This has been with my family for years. You just want the land. And he went and he sulked. And he laid down in his bed depressed and did not eat. And his wife came in and said, what is wrong with you? And he told her what the deal was. She went out and had that Bama killed. She had the dude killed, and then she had the land repossessed and given to her husband anyway. And then God came to Ahab. He was like, because you have allowed this, not only am I going to wipe you out, but I'm going to wipe out your entire seed. You're not going to have any relative left on this planet when I'm finished with you. And she going to fall from a window and get eaten by dogs. The Lord went to him first.
Yeah.
That's why our ability to control the lust, first of all, we don't have that. But we have to seek the Lord so that we can make the decisions to lead our family in the right direction. Now, the Lord, of course, he's going to allow us to face temptation. But just like the verse we just finished reading, he's never going to put on you more than you could bear. He's going to give you a way out. The thing that I can't stand the most right now, and this is the reason I'm telling y'all straight up, I'm getting more and more fed up with my television. Like, I feel like I need to cut my cable off. I don't watch it. If I'm watching anything, it's Sports Center, first of all.
That's me.
If anything's on, I can't watch the news. If anything's on, I'm usually like right now the Olympics is on. I'm all up into that because that's a whole nother topic if I get to talking about that, about what that means to me. But as I see it and what it promotes, like some of the shows, how they promote infidelity. And how that joint, they'll place either the man or the woman who is not in a relationship in such a situation in their life where they draw the audience to have sympathy on them. So it's like, oh, I can understand why he would cheat on his wife or her because she just, what she's going through. And so they give you opportunities and reasons that you might not even have thought of in your own mind.
Program,
exactly. And they push it in such a seductive way. And and almost every show got that joint. And it's like, when stuff like that happens, it's like, well, it gives you cause to think, it's like, this lust is in me, it ain't gonna never get out. So, the Lord understands I got this lust, I gotta deal with it, gotta do what I gotta do. And it has you having a mind to be passive toward it, rather than dealing with the Lord. It's like, Lord, I know you don't like this. You got to get this up out of me. So you said the sexually immoral ain't gonna be entering the kingdom, along with that other drunkards, liars, thieves. It's like ain't none of these gonna have a part in the kingdom.
You said that first.
Huh?
You gotta know. You gotta know. Everybody don't know that.
Yeah.
They think what's on the TV is what's supposed to be. Everybody don't understand what's going on. We've been blessed to know. Yeah. We're gonna take a break. What are we gonna do?
Oh yeah. Got to go. We're gonna take a 5 to 10 minute break. You know how we do. Sometimes we come back a little bit earlier. But we'll be right back with you. Before we go, though, I want to read this Coat Drive information about VoxWave Coat Drive. VoxWave will be sponsoring its first annual Coat Drive. The Coats collected will be distributed to various homeless shelters and families in the metro area. The Coat drop-off location is 4711 Auth Place. That's AUTH Place, Suitland, Maryland, 20746. For additional information, please contact my man Frank Dent at 301-442-9258. Coats collected will be donated on both January 25th, which is past, so the next date they got is February 25th. So if you got a coat, bring it through. We'll be right back with you.
Wow.
Hello? Girl, I just went to a major dealership and got ripped off on a luxury car.
Well, I just got a great deal on a luxury car at Star Imports in Camp Springs, Maryland. They took their time with me, they treated me with respect, and they helped me find my perfect car.
Hey, DMV, looking for a unique car buying experience? Tired of high-pressure sales? Good news. At Star Imports, you'll be delighted with our boutique-style car buying experience. We're committed to treating you with the utmost respect, even if you have less than perfect credit. Check out our impressive selection of pre-owned BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, Lexus, Jaguars, and other imports starting at $5,988. For fast online guaranteed credit approvals, go to starimports.com. That's STARRIMPORTS.com. Or call 301-423-8000. Star Imports, home of the boutique-style car buying experience. Located in Camp Springs, Maryland, off exit 7B off the Beltway, next to Red Lobster.
All right. We are back, man. This is Real Talk 101 here on a Sunday afternoon from 6 to 8 p.m. We thank you for being with us this long, Lord. I mean, the things that we've been talking about over the first half, discussing lust and discussing, the problem that it's been and how to overcome it. Let's talk a little bit about the other side of it, and when you actually start to show forth a difference in your behavior, and you notice the difference in your behavior when you used to act lustful. Let me tell you something. One of the things that I have found to actually been attractive to a female is being a man of God. And that's not like anything unusual. But when you are able to control yourself, when somebody's throwing something at you and you are not taking advantage, but you have a mind of purpose, you have a mind that's like, no, I value myself more than this. It's like, nah, we ain't just gonna get sloppy and do anything. You know what I'm saying? When you've had a little bit of an experience underneath your belt, when you done been around the corner a couple too many times, and you recognize the situation for what it is. That type of behavior, I've found myself definitely in that position. And mind you, the mental battle that's going on while this is occurring was very difficult, because in my mind, I'm having a conversation with the Lord while I'm having a conversation with this female, and while she could see my every facial expression and body action. And I remember I came to your house right after this happened, dog, because I was frustrated because I wanted to do what I used to do, but the Lord was like, no, don't do it. And when the Lord steps in and gives a command like that, of course, it's still up to me to make the decision, either to do what he said or not do it. But ultimately, me standing firm in this situation that I'm talking about, where I was propositioned, it was clear and it was open, I could do what I want. But I didn't, because I heard, it wasn't so much that I heard God talk to me about what I should do, but he told me about her. He was like, no, I care for this. And it's not like he's saying, I care for this. Let me be good, like he cares for this one and nobody else. He was like, no, I care about her. I want her to go home, and I don't want you to go with her. You know what I'm saying? She needs to get in her car, go home. I will take her. When he started talking to me like that, in my mind, it was the battle was going on because I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I know she was down for it. I know she was expecting it. Not only that, she started looking at me sideways because I wouldn't make a move. And when you start getting them type of looks like, oh, you some punk, like, and so it's like now my pride is bubbling up. Like, yeah, you don't know who you dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is beyond me right now. But I remember I had the mindset. I remember I had the, and this is, I want y'all to be clear. This is not me. This was not in me to do this. But it was all, the only thing I did was make a decision. That's it. The Lord leaves the decision up to us. He's like, I will present you with what I would have you do versus what you want to do, and you have to choose. When I made the choice to do what he wanted me to do, I felt like that test, even though it was frustrating, it was rough for me to pass, through time, maybe like a day or two, that joint left my mind, I started thinking about it. But after that, I found that the next time I faced a similar situation, I had the mindset more so to lean in the Lord's direction rather than let it get far enough to the point where my decision that I'll have to make will be so hard. You know what I'm saying? I was like, nah, from the jump, I can't be in this type of situation. I can't do that. I'm gonna just save myself the trouble, because I don't even want to have the what if thoughts going through my mind later on. And the only reason why I'm detailing this thought process like that is that was the process of my growth. Your process of your growth, whoever's listening, may be different, may have been different. Maybe you've already gone through it. But I know for me, and what the Lord has allowed me to do, even though it was most of the stuff I wanted to do anyway, and I just disregarded him, but he had his grace and mercy on me clearly, because I'm sitting here breathing. Because of that, the lesson that you learn, you're able to help somebody down the line. You're able, if somebody comes to you with the same situation, like, man, I don't know how you did that. I was like, yeah, I don't know how I did it either.
Exactly.
But you know what? I'm not the man. McNeil came to me on a Saturday morning one time. He's like, I can see it in your face. You're frustrated, man. He's like, let me tell you something about me, man. And I ain't asked. When McNeil comes to speak to me, I don't ask. He just comes with a word. He's like, man, listen, I was in a position where I was like, I can't never be married. I can't even be around little girls. I can't even be around this, that, and the third, because I'm wild, Lord. Like, I don't have no desire to be wicked, but my mind. I don't trust my mind. I don't like the thoughts that sit with me when they're out of the picture. You know what I'm saying? And when he was open to me like that, the Lord told me, he's like, he's been where you are. That's why I sent him.
I think what it is, in my experience, I had what caused me to really start really thinking, and I still struggle with it from time to time, but it was this one girl cool girl friends for like 20-some years. We never got down to anything like that. But I had a thought that I wanted to, because she had that body, right, like I like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to sleep that night. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can go ahead and punish that joint.
Mm-hmm.
Went to sleep that night. As I was asleep, an angel came in my sleep and was like, do not touch her. Do not touch her. Now, I'm like, whoa, you know, I'm thrown back by it. But me being unclean, me being want to do my thing opposed God's way, I will flirt with the situation. You know, you will flirt with the situation, even though you're like, yeah, I'm gonna flirt with it.
You talk.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Flirt with the situation, like I'm gonna talk to her a certain way or flirt with her a certain way, just to see if I can get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But at the same time, when it came close to getting it, God would, and I asked God, I said, God, you already know how I'm. Now after I'm flirt with it, the angel told me don't touch it. I done flirted with this shit. Flirted with the sister. I'm sorry, didn't mean to call it a chick. Flirted with the sister. Now it's like, it's an opportunity for me to go ahead and be able to get there. So now, I'm praying, Lord, you know my heart. You know I want to go over there and do what I want to do. So you got to provide a way for me not to go over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So one or two things will always happen. It will make it weird as though something come up and I can't go there because I got to handle work. Or the woman will say something so outlandish. You know what I'm saying? So
Vulgar?
not vulgar. I mean, so, I don't want to say, I'm gonna just say it's so dumb.
So dumb.
Yeah, that you turned off. You're like, man, you know what? I don't even understand why I was, you know what I'm saying?
So dumb, yeah.
But now I'm mad because in my heart, I realized in my
what
heart,
happened.
I wanted to go over there and punish that dude.
Punch that dumb jump.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That dumb stuff.
Exactly. So that's what caused me to realize, like, I had to look at it one day. How sick are you? I told you not to touch it.
Right.
You gonna flirt with it. Then you gonna ask me to help you not to touch it. I help you not to touch it. And you mad because you didn't touch it.
Frustration
You know what I'm
either
saying?
way, man.
So I had to look at it. So I had to look at it from a different perspective. So now I ask God to, yeah, I'm attracted to women. You know, I love them. Like I said, I love everything about them. But I look past. Now I'm getting to the point in my age. Now I'm 45. Being able to. God has got me to the point where I'm able to look past the physical now and try to figure out, man, what's really going on.
What's really going on?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So because now when you got that person that you want to hit to say dumb things, make you think, you know what, man, why am I trying to, you know what I'm saying? Now it's like I got to look. God has helped me look past the physical. You know what I'm saying? Okay, yeah, she fat, Tom. Okay, cool. But Lord, what's really going on with this girl? You know, am I setting myself up? I mean, you know, am I? You know, what's and I'm starting to ask more and more questions. So I thank God for that, man. You know, but it's a struggle. To my young guys out there, man, I like to say this: young guys, older guys, young ladies, older women. God will always provide an out. It's up to you whether you accept that out or not.
Right.
Now, if you don't accept that out that He's giving you, be man enough or woman enough to deal with the consequences that come behind it. You know what I mean? So I just ask God to just constantly, you know, help me with that because it is, I mean, it is a struggle. Sometimes, I don't know if you experience that, you find yourself thinking about a chick, man, we'll go ahead and do this, we'll go ahead and do it. And then next thing you know, you've done gone off, you way over here.
Way over there.
You know what I'm saying? You gone. You like,
mind
hold up,
take
man,
you
how I
road.
get, you know, to the point, I'm going to tell you what's even crazy. Now, I'm going to say this and I'm going to ask y'all this question. Have you ever been in prayer and all of a sudden while you praying, in your mind, while you praying, a naked woman pop up in your head while you praying?
It's happened before.
I'm like, what is wrong with me, man? You know what I'm saying?
I apologize to the Lord in the middle of the prayer.
Exactly. I'm like, Lord, come on, man.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm
I mean, just
sorry.
like that. And I thought it was just me. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was just me.
No, but the fact that you said what you said is how the Lord covers that. He's like, all right, I understand. It's like when I talked to him about it immediately. Now, what would be different if that happened and then I don't acknowledge that with the Lord? Because I'm having a middle of a conversation with him,
Yeah.
Or it happened when I'm in Bible, when I'm studying, when I'm reading the Word.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'll end up reading the whole page and not take nothing
Nothing,
from it.
because
And I'm
this is
like,
really
oh,
mine, yeah.
nah. But you know what actually stopped me from that is when I started asking the Holy Ghost to talk to me while I'm reading. Like, what's between these lines? When he's doing that and he's talking to me, then I'm engaged.
Yeah.
But if I'm just reading, it's like, okay, I need to read the Word. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't read the Joe in a while. And I open the Joe, start reading, and I don't talk to him first.
Yeah.
Oh, my mind immediately,
gone, yeah.
boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
gone.
gone, yeah.
And I'm like, there's no profit to anything. I'm just wasting time. So it's like it's what we drive back to every time we come on this show. It's about that relationship, man. He knows, I'd like to believe this, but the Lord knowing me as well as he does, and knowing each of y'all as if y'all are the only one alive, and me as if I'm the only one alive, he delights, first of all, he delights in blessing us, delights in giving us grace and mercy, delights in forgiving us. He does not delight in our punishment and the things that cause us pain and problems, but he knows the trials that we go through are necessary for our growth, but he does not delight in our pain and suffering. He never has, never will. That's the devil. Devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So he's all the author behind all that. But this is what I like to believe about God even more so. The fact that if, holding true to what we said before, if he had Adam in the pocket and hooked him up with Eve like that. Now, this is prior to the fall.
Yeah.
So Adam ain't messed up. But because of the redemption of Christ, who came down here in our flesh and now brought us closer to God as if we had never fallen, because he has this on. The only thing that's going to be seen in eternity that's going to call back to remembrance the life that we had are going to be the holes in his hand. Everything else from our past life is going to be gone. So Christ has now bonded us to divinity much closer than we if we had never fallen in the first place. So I'm like, if God look at me like that, to the point where, and look at the evidence. Let's look at the evidence of how God can have us in the pocket, or have his regard for us is so high. The fact that he will talk to me in the midst of my sin. He will talk to me when I'm seconds after transgression. But it's about whether I choose to talk to him or not. It's not about my pride and me looking at myself, man, I'm just a jacked up dude with bad eyes. I can't stop looking at younger, so I can't talk to the Lord, man, because I'm too jacked up. I can't talk to the Lord. When I have overcome those thoughts, I'm like, man, Lord, I'm telling you, I don't know. This is real right here. I tell the Lord, say, man, I don't know how you going to get me there. I really don't. I don't know how you going to get me there, but it's going strictly because you see that I can't do it. And I tell him that straight up. I was like, man, I thank you for hearing. I know you hear me. I know you said you want me to talk to you like right now, so I'm talking to you. And you got to get me there. And I talk to him like that. And when I talk to him like that, he's like, man, you don't know. You just, I remember one time he told me, he's like, you have no idea what I got in store for you. You really don't. And he's like, not only that, nobody knows what I have in store for them. Nobody. The one who can always surprise you and catch you off guard is God. He can always catch you. Matter of fact, he loves to do it. Whenever the Lord come through and bless me, that joint be out of the situations where I should not be blessed. I should not get a boost from like a care package from the Lord. So I'm like, if you look at me like that, and you cover me just because of the fact that I got a relationship with you, then you show me David, whose hands still bloody. We're doing all these love killing and raiding, and you call him a man after your own heart, so much so that even down the line, he would say, I'm going to still keep an heir of David and of Solomon on the throne. I'm going to still make sure that house, just because of my servant. And he been dead. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if I can get tight with you like that, why wouldn't you? You, the ones who knows me so well, why wouldn't you have me in the pocket in this area of my life where lust is so extreme, to the point where it's like, the Lord can have it to the way it was like, you'll think back, it's like, why was I even lusting in the first place if God's going to hook me up like that? And you have to think, you have to come to a relationship, your relationship has to grow with the Lord to where you can think of him like that. He's your father, man. Like a father with his children. If your son or your daughter came to either one of y'all and was like, Daddy, I need to sit down and talk to you about something serious. So, oh yeah, let me hurry up and get done with it. Like, you can tell with the voice tone, with the body language, when you approach the Lord with that same type of posture, it's like, God, man, I need to tell you about something, because this joint is on me. First of all, the Lord's not already doing something else that he can't stop. The Lord has his focus on you while the world is spinning on a tilted axis. Have you ever thought axis? Is that's the right word? It's tilted axis. And so when I think about that, that joint is in constant rotation, because God just spend it just a little bit at the beginning of time and ain't stopped spending since. You know what I'm saying? And you got planets orbiting around the sun, and them joints are orbiting by the power of God. And this is just one universe. God got all this, giving breath to everything that's breathing down here. Give us the atmosphere so that we can breathe in. Got life, and you got the changing of the seasons. Don't no man dictate the changing of the seasons. God does that. So it's like, if you got all that in control, yet you still focused on me, why wouldn't I want to give you? What does the word say? It's like, you being wicked know how to give good gifts to evil children. Now, I know the verse goes on to talk about him giving the Holy Spirit, but it is that Holy Spirit that gives us that connection, because the Holy Spirit is the one that talks to us in those moments. It's the Spirit of the Lord that you rap into. And the Spirit is testifying of Jesus, because that's what the Spirit was sent to do after he ascended. It all comes back to that. And my brothers and sisters who are watching, the only reason why I'm able to speak about this way with this much passion is because, man, I read. First of all, I read about this, but it's not just the reading. I believe it. It's not just that. It's the revelation. It's God's confirmation of it. Because you can read it, it's like, yeah, that sounds good. There are many people on this earth who look at the life of Christ and he was a good prophet.
Good dude.
He was a good dude. Walked the earth. I agree with his methods. Everything he was talking, that's some good morals. You know what I'm saying? They don't know him. When you know him and you got a relationship with him and he starts confirming everything and then breaking stuff down in this word that's behind the line, she's like, now think about it. Let's reason together about what's going on here. I want you to see your humanity in these stories. I want you to see yourself in David. I want you to see yourself in the children of Israel. I want to see yourself in Samson. I want you to see yourself in Moses. All y'all were jacked up. I want you to see that. So you see that there wasn't no special people that I chose. Everybody I chose was messed up. Yeah. But they made a decision to rap to me and to come to me about their state. And because of that, I elevated them to a place they could never get to. Never. So I'm saying all that to say the issue with lust, it is still a struggle, and there's always going to be a temptation. The word, like we read before, said is common to man. It's common. Yeah. Let's look at it like that. Us being attracted to a female's form, she walking down the street looking bad, smelling good, or it's natural to a man. You understand?
Exactly.
But the Lord has got you. He will never give you more than you can bear. Never. And if you think that you got more than you can bear, He's going to give you a way out.
Exactly.
He's going to give you a way out, man. Shoot. Y'all brothers got anything else to add to that subject?
No, man. You want to go on? We will. The thing is, what I'm learning in my experience, and like I said, God is constantly working with me. What I'm basically learning is that when you pray, how can I say this? When you pray, mean what you mean in your prayer. Because a lot of times what we do is we ask God to help us to get over a sin or something that's holding us that we truly don't want to overcome, except in certain situations. You know what I mean? Like, I need you to come through for me with this female, but I got it when it comes to this one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's so, the lust thing is so strong, man, that I don't want it to be where as though come judgment and God says, Tommy, you can't make it in because you was tripping off some butt or you was lusting. Of all things in the world, not to be able to make it into heaven is because I was thinking about sex. I wanted sex more than I wanted to be,
Lord.
You know, with you, Lord. Really? You know what I mean? And it's a scary thing because it's going to be some people that if we're not careful are not going to make it. Just for that reason right there. Money. Lust. You know, if we don't get things right, man, it's just mean what you say when you pray. And that's for all situations. If you want to overcome the lust thing, pray for it. And believe in that prayer about the lust thing and stick to it. Not for certain situations and certain women or certain scenarios.
Because you said what you said. I'm just sitting there, listening to y'all kicking stuff around in my head, right? I made a statement on there about the last show of 2017 that I felt as though the Lord had removed the lust from me. I lied to a certain extent. Lust is a mindset, if you ask me my opinion. It's not a feeling, but it has feelings involved with it. It's the way people think. Because, like you said, maybe in one situation, Lord, I need you to help me here, but I got it over here in this situation.
Exactly.
But
not giving it fully to him.
Not giving it all to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that will require our thinking to change. You know what I'm saying? If what you do is lust, that's what you do, it starts in your mind. If you're doing this, it starts up here. See, shorty, I gotta get that. That's a thought. It ain't even your thought, for real, because the devil accesses our mind just like God do. He puts thoughts in our mind. It's up to you whether you're gonna dwell on that. Once you dwell on it, take hold of that bad. Now it's yours. He gave it to you. Now what you gonna do? You're gonna cultivate it. You're gonna try to figure out. Now you get to ponder, how can I make this happen? You just walking towards sin. You dig what I'm saying? He calling, he whispering, you come on over here. I got something for you. You get shorty, she bite, got her, you committed the act. Now you gotta deal with that with God. But if you realize and recognize, God, I can't do this. I cannot do this. That don't mean the females are gonna stop coming your way, or you just gonna have to depend on him. Ain't nothing, to me, there's nothing more fulfilling than to see that fat butt and purposely not look at it. You know what I'm saying? I've tried it. It ain't easy, but it feels good after the fact. It feels better than if you commit that act and how you gonna feel after the fact. If you can see, you know them youngers is bad over there. I used to just love riding them down George Avenue. You tell somebody, I love my city. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always something. You know, hit Howard, just ride through the campus.
I like riding
you know
through
what I'm saying?
Georgetown.
I like riding through downtown.
Northwest 7th Street.
Springtime or summertime.
Yeah.
During lunchtime between 1 and 2 o'clock.
There's nothing like it.
Nothing like it in the world.
Vicious setup, though. Don't be out there walking around. See, but if you have a mind, and I thank God that I was of a mind young to conquer everything. You know what I'm saying? I know better than that now because, you know, I'm not going to go into too many details, but, you know, I ain't going to go into that.
That's natural for a man.
But I mean, the way I went about it was a little unorthodox.
Animalistic.
Man.
Wow.
What? Cold animal, though.
We beast. You called us out. I'm a beast. I'm going to get my joint.
You mixing alcohol and drugs and that. But I'm talking about putting myself in situations where I've never had an STD. Thank God.
Man.
By the grace of God. I don't even
Lord.
understand.
I don't understand it either.
Why one situation, I couldn't understand it. I could not understand it because, but nothing wrong with the female. She was pretty, nice little body. And it wasn't that she was dumb, but something wouldn't let me connect with her. I could have done it. I was doing everything else, you know what I'm saying? And drinking, playing, chilling, smoking. It was opportunities were there, but something in me wouldn't let me. This dude right here that was just out crushing, wouldn't let me hit that joint, man, to the point where it didn't make sense to me, and it wasn't about. But I stuck to my guns. I'm like, nah. I got to the point I was this close, like this close.
Yeah.
Nah. I'm like, I'm asking me, what's wrong with you, Slim?
Exactly.
Joe right there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just get it and go.
Exactly.
Man, I come to find out, it was tainted. I was a raw dog, you hear me? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it had that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, Lord, you just
Saved my life.
just saved my existence.
Yeah.
You understand? But I mean, I had to think about it after that, like, yo, it ain't always worth the feeling. You know what I'm saying? That feeling ain't worth that feeling. You know what I'm saying? But it's when you can't call yourself being victorious in one area, and then you roll over and die in another area. You know what I'm saying? That's the same. You know, you're not lusting after this over here, which was an issue. But now you still fornicating over here. If you're gonna stop, because the lust will lead to sex.
You may not be lusting over in this area, but you're still fornicating. I mean, do the two go hand in hand? I know one leads to the other. And lust can definitely lead to fornication when you're talking about lusting over out of sexual desire, whatever that mess. But I mean, it's just amazing that if your thinking don't change, you can call yourself having self-control, being able to walk away, pray about it in the midst of the situation. If your mindset does not change towards what did Joseph say to Potiphar? Like, how can I do this?
How, man?
And dishonor God. If that's not your thinking, you're going to crush that. If it ain't on your mind that you're hurting the Lord, and even if you know that this act is going to hurt God, alcohol is a vicious, man, all it takes is a little bit. And once that thought creeps into your mind, well...
I believe Joseph asked that question the first time, like, give me a way. Like, then he was like, how can I do this? How can I do this? It'd be cool with the Lord. He was like, man, how can I do this and be cool with the Lord? How can this be cool with... The thing that I was led to while you were speaking is the fact, in the 10 Commandments, coming out of Exodus chapter 20, starting in verse 3, the first commandment, you shall have no other gods before me.
Yeah, that's me.
That's the John.
too,
That's the John. That's the first commandment. You shall have no other gods before you. Let me ask y'all both this question. The last commandment, talk about covetousness. Is coveting akin to lust?
Yeah.
Depends on what you covet.
Yeah.
Depends on what you covet.
I mean,
depends on what you lust. We already made it clear that you
Lust ain't just sex. Yeah. It's power,
lust and
money.
covet.
But lusting is an overmastering desire to have something. Covet is just like, man, I wouldn't mind having that.
But how far do you let that go?
That's what I'm saying. But to covet something is just to want what somebody else has. They give you examples. The neighbor's ox, his ass, is this, that, and the other thing.
So much to the point where you go out yourself and get exactly what he has.
I think covetousness can produce lust. If you covet something long enough, you're lusting after it.
Right.
But to covet something, I don't think is anything more than, man, I like that watch. I wish I had that watch. I just coveted his watch. But if I covered that watch to the point of, man, so it's time to take that joint off.
Right.
That's mine. Now I'm stealing.
Yeah.
But I need that watch so bad I'm willing to steal to get it.
Yeah.
So I done coveted it, I done stole it, and I lusted.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think, I personally, you might feel different, I don't personally think that lusting and coveting are the same thing. I think lusting is an extreme form of coveting. You know what I'm saying? We're not just talking about sex.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, you could look at your neighbor's wife and desire her. Like, man, shawty bad. I wish she was my wife. That's you coveting. Lusting, man, I can't wait till Slim leaves. I'm gonna shoot my shot. You know what I'm saying? Every chance I get, I'm just gonna, what's up, shawty? You know what I'm saying? And no, she married. Cool, play cards with the husband. But every time you see his wife, you're trying to give her an eye. You're trying to make sure she see you.
Looking at her.
Because you're thinking to yourself, man, I'm trying to do to her what he doing to her. Not so much, I wish she was my wife because she cooks, cleans, takes the kids to school every day. You know, you're still coveting in that sense. And not to say that one to smash is the only way you can lust, but I think lust has more to do with the actual overmastering desire to do something.
Conquer.
Yeah, to do whatever it is though. You know, I gotta take this big dude down to get that watch.
Get that watch, right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's more than just wanting it.
Right. And the reason why I brought that up is because the first commandment says don't put nothing before God. But the one he leaves you with is, I look at it, and it's just coming to me right now, he's guarding us from the avenue which will cause us to put things over him. Because whatever we lust and we covet after, we're essentially saying we want that more than God.
Yeah.
So the question then becomes, well, how do I start wanting God more than what I lust? We say relationship a lot with the Lord. When you come to an understanding that you have done wrong in your life, and you got some type of moral compass, but every person does, of what's right and what's wrong. We ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, so we know about what's right and what's wrong. That can be stated. When we come to a point where we have done more wrong than right, and we kind of looking at ourselves for the answer, how can we fix this? We know something's wrong. We need to make a change. And then the Lord uses that opportunity, that prime time in your life, to make himself known, and you find out who he is. It's only until you have a relationship and find out who the Lord is for yourself that you can even start to keep that first commandment. Because you'll start to trust him to put him above everything. Because prior to knowing him, you put what you covet and what you lust before him all the time, and you don't think twice about it. Because you don't know him. It's like, I know God there. I know he up there running stuff, but I don't know him like that. So why would I put him above what I want, what I can get right here in front of my eyes, what I can see, what I can touch, what I can smell, what I can hear. Anything that can appeal to my senses, I can go get that because I can see that. If you're talking about me to believe some being up in the sky who I don't hear from or I don't never talk to, I just know he did. You know what I'm saying? I know he want me to do right, but I ain't got no experience with him. So when you start to have that thought, but then you come to a point in your life where life is kicking your behind, where if you live long enough, you are going to find yourself in that position. And he makes the opportunity the prime time, because God is always going to choose the prime time to convict you that he is there, that he is who he says he is. And if he hasn't done that for you yet, if you're listening, you ain't going to go to sleep permanently or for a while before God gets his chance to do that with you. He's going to find a time to expose himself to you. And then from that point, he's going to show you why you should put him above everything else and why you shouldn't put no other gods up in front of him. Man. That's the thing that I love when we're tackling this conversation, because a couple years ago, if we had this conversation about lust, I would have asked that question to a couple of people, both of y'all and a couple more people. It's like, so how in the world do I change from wanting one God over wanting that? I would have had to ask that question because I just won't get it. And I know that there are people who may be watching this who ask that question. That is the answer, is that when you come to a point where you are convicted of yourself that there needs to be a change in your action, God is going to take the time. He'll do it through a bunch of events that will link together. He'll get you up to a point where now you primed and ready to hear a good word. You're primed and ready to receive him for who he really is. And when he makes that impact on your life, he's like, oh, okay, so this is how some people can go so hard for you. This is how some people can talk about you in such a good way, and how some people can't because they don't know you like this. They don't know you how you're coming across to me, but I know you. Like when I can talk about a personal testimony and experience in my life where I know God came through, can't nobody tell me nothing else. Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Exactly.
That's how I was like, now if he held me down in that situation where I did not deserve to be held down, then I can trust him. I can say, okay, Lord, I can consider what you're saying in this book, talking about I ain't supposed to be coveting, I ain't supposed to be lusting after. I can consider that now because you held me down. You showed me that you have my best interest in your heart.
What do you say?
What do you mean?
Covenant of? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's
house.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife,
right.
Nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything
that is your neighbor's. Right.
So the covet is that a desire for something that belongs to somebody else. Lust is just a desire, a strong desire for something.
But let me
covenant is wanting something that belongs to somebody else.
Okay, that clarifies what you said earlier about that being the road that leads to lust.
Right.
That leads to it.
What in my walk, and I want to know, have y'all experienced this? That with this lust thing, it was such a over mastering thing for me that I wanted this female. Have you ever been in a situation where you like, man, Lord, you know what I'm going to do? You already know what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? And it got to the point where the temptation was so strong, you convinced yourself
you got to rationalize it,
that God will forgive you
okay with it.
if you go ahead and do this. I mean, I've been in situations where I went on ahead and handled that. And then right after, Lord, you got to forgive me, man, because I'm tripping. You know what I mean? But then turn around and do it again and then say, well, Lord, you know I can't do it, but you know my heart. As if that's an excuse or a pass. You know what I'm saying? To go through with the act that you did, you followed your lustful heart, man. It's
I wonder what do people mean when they say God knows my heart.
Well, it's like God knows in my heart I really don't want to do it, but I'm going to do this.
But what does the
right
Bible
now.
tell us about our heart?
Exactly.
Our heart is deceitfully wicked.
Exactly.
So if anything, the Lord knows, Lord, you know I'm deceitfully wicked.
Exactly.
Even I'm deceiving myself with my internal wickedness. Is that what it means?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
because you want to. It's generally said like, Lord, you know my intentions are good. Are your intentions really good? Your heart is deceitfully wicked.
I want to read that verse.
Yeah.
The heart is deceitful.
Yeah.
Y'all keep talking.
Yeah, but the thing is, we use that as a means of a pass
Right.
for a sin that we've done. You know what I'm saying? Well, oh Lord, you know I ain't really want to do it, but I had to do it. You know, we're trying to rationalize our lustful desire, what we did, even though we went through with it, with God as you already knew. Like we blaming him that we went on ahead and did what we did. But didn't turn around and say, well, Lord, you know my heart. You know what I'm saying? You know I ain't really want to do it, but I did it. I had to do it, but I didn't really want to, but you know my heart. You know what I'm saying? I found myself say that a couple times.
I too.
And I've constantly hear like when people do stuff wrong, whether it be a TV show, whether it be in your family, they be like, well, I know I shouldn't have did that, but even though I might cuss you out, God knows my heart. Even though I might not do something I'm supposed to do, but God really knows my heart. Even though I may disrespect you.
That's why I wanted to read.
Yeah, go ahead.
See,
read
the reason why I wanted to, because it speaks to it speaks to exactly what y'all saying in this sentence right here. It says, the heart is deceitfully wicked above all things, but this is the sentence.
What's
Desperately
the verse?
wicked.
What's that?
It says Jeremiah 17:9.
Jeremiah 17.
Actually, it says the heart is deceitful.
The heart is
above all
deceitful,
things,
above,
and
desperately wicked. Who can know? And the thing that
Above
gets
all
me,
things, this is deceitful.
right?
Even though it's desperately wicked, above that is deceitful. So you might think you feel in your heart, I want to do this.
Oh,
I
but
shouldn't
but
do
it's
that.
lying
It's
to you,
lying to
see.
you anyway.
Lying to yourself.
And so, but it's how can you be deceitful above, but then be desperately wicked? That means it speaks to what you're saying. Lord, you know me. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. You're gonna have to forgive me. That's desperately wicked. That means I'm desperate to get this done. So you just gonna have to.
Yeah,
you gonna have to feel me on this one, man, because I'm desperate to get this done.
That's a deception.
And that's the crazy
Oh.
part. Yeah.
Above
that,
Yeah.
It's a deception.
it's a deception.
Man,
And the
it's
deception is
treacherous,
this. The deception is this. You have the power to say no.
Right. But
That's
you
the
don't want
that's
to.
the
Yeah.
deception, but you don't want to.
to.
That's the deception. It's like you think that you have to do this, but you have the power to be like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because the word also says, resist the devil and he will flee from your behind.
Or your heart might tell you, I need to do this. When the whole time you don't need to do it, as opposed to you telling yourself you don't need to do it and ended up doing it. If people go on, the Lord knows my heart. But he's telling you right here, your heart is deceitful.
Yeah.
If you going on what you feel like in your heart, you should do, follow your heart, follow your first mind. So, people got a lot of different. You better second guess that.
And that's Jeremiah 17.
9.
17:9. Yeah, 17:9, man. Bam. The heart is deceitful alone of all things.
I tell y'all this. If I'm going to jump into that verse, we got to leave you with a little bit of hope at the end of that, man. Because it's like, that's what the prophets did. They ended the chapter. It's like, y'all going to get ran through a little bit. The Lord going to bring the thunder. But in the end, I'm going to help you out. And I'm going to just go to my favorite verse in Jeremiah. And this is like almost smack dab in the middle of the book. That's why I love it. Because you open the books like in the middle. And that's Jeremiah 32:27. 32:27, man. Some of the greatest words I ever heard. Because when we are in impossible situations, the Lord says, behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me?
Wow.
Is there anything too hard for me?
Wow.
So that means, but he didn't say, is there anything too hard for you? Mm-hmm. Even though you desperately wicked and deceitful above all these things, is there anything too hard? No. Is there anything too hard for me? That means I can help you with that.
Exactly.
I can help you overcome that wicked heart that sits beating in your body.
32 what?
32:27.
27.
Oh man, this joint right here.
Yeah.
That was the answer. I was like, he ain't never make it more clear than that. And I was like, you don't really hear the Lord talking like that.
Yeah.
He's like, hold on, Slim, behold, I'm the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me?
Man.
Come on, man. That's my joint. I love that
right
verse.
there, yeah.
Hey, and it's
might
just
have to
like
highlight that thing.
another joint
Yeah.
that's like that is Exodus 14:14. He
get
was
into
like,
it real
the
quick.
Lord. Yeah, let's jump Exodus. I know this. These are like the two that I keep in the back of Exodus 14:14. Read that joke if you get to it first.
Exodus
14:14.
That's 4:7.
The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace.
Your peace. Wow. So not only is nothing too hard for him because he's the God of all flesh, he's going to fight on your behalf because your heart is so deceitfully wicked and deceptive. It's deceptive above all things. So he's going to fight the fight for you while you're going to hold your peace. But in order to hold your peace while he does that, you got to trust him.
Yeah.
You got to trust. How can you trust him? Relationship. You ain't gonna trust no God that you don't know.
Exactly.
If you don't know God, why in the world would you trust him? Because people said he good, he give all this life. Yes, it's true, but you don't know him.
Yeah.
You don't know him for yourself. You got to get to know him so you can trust him. And when you trust him, he fights your battles. So you sitting there holding your peace because he can do everything that you can't do.
So the
love
recap. So a quick recap is. So for those like myself who thought that lust was impossible to overcome, you went here with Exodus 14:14, and we're gonna say that thing one more again.
The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. One sentence.
There it is. And then we're gonna go to Jeremiah
32:27.
32:27. One more again, because I need that.
Yeah. 32.
32.
Yeah. It says, "Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me?" Now, this is the New King James. I'm interested to hear what y'all's joint say for that.
I say the same thing. Basically, behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me?
You see, I don't think they could have translated that any other way because God said that. That was
It
a
is what
stamp.
it
That was a
is.
stamp
That's
moment.
one of them things that did.
It's like
That's
you
what
the
he
boss
said.
on the corner. I run this.
Yeah.
It's like that's what the Lord says. It's like, hold on, man. I made everything that's breathing. You think something's too hard for me?
That's
But then look at verse 3 of chapter 33. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not. We think we know about ourselves.
I need my.
All
I
we
need
got to
my
do is
highlighter.
holler at him, man.
Yeah.
Let me put the bookmark.
All we got to do is holler at him, and he's going to show us great and mighty things which we know not. People think they're so smart here because there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing man has done that's new under the sun. God said he's going to do something new in these last days, right? Just believe him.
Man, that's a good way to close out on some hope, man.
Yeah.
Tommy, we appreciate you joining us at the table again,
Thank
brother.
you, man, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate
Anytime,
being here. I
anytime.
love being here.
Yeah, we're
Love learning.
gonna start adding more brothers to the conversation
Love
too,
learning.
man. Because every time I go to church or go out, when people ask about the ministry, ask about the radio station, he's like, "How can we get on and share a testimony?" But I tell them, and they know this. I think they know this prior before they even have to ask me. So if you come on here, you gotta be ready to be transparent, though. There can't be no sugarcoating or no.
Yeah.
First of all, O gonna put it out of you. If you even starting to fake, he's like, "Hold on, what you talking about? I don't understand." No, I don't get what you're saying.
Right.
So when people find that courage through the Holy Ghost to share their testimony, we invite you. Come on, sit down, because it's going to benefit somebody. That's why you're going through the test, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been Real Talk 101 here on a Sunday afternoon from 6 to 8 p.m. Tom, you mind closing us out?
Not at all, man. Y'all got any requests, anything before we close?
Oh, my cousin Bill, man, his car totaled like 5 days ago, man. Totaled that junk. I meant to tell you that. More hammers.
Yeah.
He got a job, praise the Lord.
Say what?
What?
Is that you got this on?
No, he said more hammers are hitting him.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
oh.
So, yeah.
I mean, let's keep, you know what I'm saying, Shawty, mother, my sister in prayer. What is your cousin?
All right. Yeah. Takar and what's the
Pearl.
Pete.
Miss Pearl?
Pete, Miss Pete.
Miss
His
Pete.
last name Perry,
All right.
but you know,
All right.
Lord knows what you're talking about.
All right, Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for us being able to go over your word and express our own faults, as well as we ask that we've encouraged each other as we hope we've encouraged the listeners out there, people watching. Pray, Lord, that you will be with Miss P, be with Bill in their situations, be with Takar, please you be with her, my brother Black Indian. We also pray, Lord, that you will be with our family and friends as they travel on highways and byways. I also ask that you will be with my cousin Spoon as he travels and with the celebrities that he travels with, and you get him safe, land him safe in Los Angeles for the NBA All-Star Weekend. Pray that you will be out there with him and the people that he's with. We also ask, Lord, that if there's anything that's separating us from you, we ask, Father, that you'll cut it off. We pray the Lord that the Bible, that you give us all the answers that we think that we can't, or things in our life we think we can't overcome. Thank you for providing us with the answers in your word that we can go back to know that nothing is too hard for you, that you can bring us through. Ask and ask, Lord, that you will bless this radio station as it's a platform for us to reach out to those in need, and we receive love and help for our own personal lives that we go through as we leave this place. These things I ask in your name, Lord, in Jesus' name. For his sake we do pray now.
Amen. Yes, indeed. Thank you for joining us this evening. Next Sunday, we'll be back with Mr. Jared Taylor for our third Sunday guest of the month. Going to have another interesting debate, probably even talk a little bit more so about the traveling distance, either New York or Georgia. That was very popular. I got some good feedback on that. But until then, may God bless and keep you. We'll see you next time.
Peace.